Quick note before we begin. This video is for general education only. It is not personalized financial advice, so always make the money decisions that fit your own situation. There's a money trend quietly taking over right now, and it's the opposite of everything social media spent the last decade selling you. For years, it was hauls and upgrades and buying the newest thing to prove you were doing well. Now, people are proudly showing off how little they buy, how long they've kept things, and how much they're saving by simply using what they already own. It's called underconsumption, and behind the aesthetic is a genuinely powerful wealth-building idea. In this video, I'll break down what it really is, why it's exploding, and exactly how to use it to get richer without feeling deprived. Let's get into it. For as long as most of us have been online, the message was relentless and always the same. Buy more. Watch the haul, see the huge order, admire the upgrade, and feel that quiet little pull that you should have those things too. Consumption was the whole aesthetic. More was the flex. And then recently, something interesting cracked. People started getting tired of the clutter, the waste, the endless treadmill of buying things that didn't actually make them happier, and the credit card bills that followed. So a counter trend was born, and it caught fire, especially with younger people. Instead of showing off what they bought, creators started showing off what they didn't. The same well-worn sneakers used for years, the near-empty makeup they actually finished, the tiny wardrobe worn on repeat, the phone kept until it genuinely died. They called it underconsumption, sometimes underconsumption core, and it's exactly what it sounds like, celebrating buying and using less. Underneath the aesthetic, though, is something that's been quietly making people wealthy for generations. This isn't really a new idea at all. It's an old one, finally made cool again, and that's what makes it so powerful right now. Let's be precise because underconsumption is easy to misunderstand. At its core, it just means consuming at a normal, reasonable level instead of the constant excess that got sold to us as normal. And that's the plot twist. What's being celebrated as a trend is really just, well, how people used to live before we were all trained to overbuy. Using things until they wear out. Owning a sensible amount of stuff. Not replacing what works perfectly fine. What underconsumption is not is misery or extreme deprivation. It's not about owning 5 items and never enjoying anything, and it's not a competition to spend the least and suffer the most. That misses the entire point. It's simply a rejection of mindless overbuying. A return to being intentional. You still buy what you need. You still spend on things you genuinely value. You just stop the reflexive, constant acquiring of stuff you don't need, won't use, and won't even remember buying. Think of it as the comfortable middle ground between drowning in impulse purchases on one side and forcing yourself into painful extreme frugality on the other. Reasonable, intentional, and completely sustainable. That balance is exactly why it's spreading so fast. So why did this catch fire right at this moment? A few forces collided. First, money got tight. With the rising cost of living squeezing everyone, the pressure to keep buying more collided head-on with the reality of shrinking budgets, and something had to give. Second, people hit a wall with haul culture. After years of watching influencers unbox mountains of stuff, a lot of viewers started feeling not inspired but exhausted, and even a little tricked, realizing that much of it was just selling them a lifestyle that quietly kept them broke. Third came the backlash against waste, against fast fashion piling up in landfills, against the endless churn of buy, discard, repeat. And fourth, honestly, overbuying stopped feeling aspirational and started feeling a little irresponsible, while being smart and intentional with money started to feel genuinely cool. Put it all together, and underconsumption became the natural response. Permission to step off the treadmill and feel good about it. It reframed buying less not as falling behind, but as being smart, conscious, and quietly ahead. And once saving money becomes the flex instead of spending it, real wealth building stops being a chore and starts being the whole point. Let's get practical, starting with the single most powerful underconsumption habit. Shopping your own closet, your own cabinets, and your own home before you ever buy something new. It sounds almost too simple, but the truth is, most of us already own far more than we use. There are clothes in the back of the closet you've forgotten, food in the pantry that could make a dozen meals, products half used and abandoned, tools and gadgets sitting idle. So before any purchase, you pause and ask one question. Do I already have something that does this job? Need an outfit for an event? Shop your closet and rediscover what you own before buying more. Planning meals? Cook from what's already in the pantry and freezer before hitting the store. Tempted by a new gadget? Check whether the thing you already have still works perfectly well. This one habit does two things at once. It saves you real money instantly, and it makes you genuinely appreciate what you already have instead of always chasing the next thing. Most people are surprisingly rich in stuff they've forgotten they own. Use it first and watch how much you stop needing to buy. To make this stick, here are two simple rules that quietly stop most wasteful spending before it happens. The first is the 30-day rule. When you feel the urge to buy something that isn't a true necessity, you don't buy it right away. You write it down and you wait 30 days. That's it. What you'll discover is genuinely eye-opening. The overwhelming majority of the time, the burning desire just fades, and you realize you never actually needed it. The wanting was a passing impulse, engineered by a clever ad or a bored afternoon, not a real need. And on the rare occasion you still want it after 30 days, great. Now it's a considered purchase, not an impulse, and you can buy it with a clear conscience. The second rule is one in, one out. For certain categories like clothes, whenever something new comes in, something old goes out. This naturally caps how much you accumulate and forces you to be honest about whether you truly want the new thing enough to part with something you own. Together, these two rules act like a filter on your spending, quietly blocking the impulse buys that used to drain your account while barely affecting the purchases that actually matter. Here's a piece of underconsumption that sounds like a contradiction. Sometimes buying less means spending more per item on purpose. It's the buy it for life idea, and it's the opposite of fast, disposable everything. Fast fashion and cheap disposable goods feel like a bargain in the moment, but they wear out fast, so you replace them again and again. And over the years, you often spend far more than if you'd bought one quality version that lasted. Cheap can be the most expensive choice there is. So the intentional move, for the things you use hard and often, is to buy fewer, better items that are built to last, and then actually take care of them and keep them for years. A solid pair of boots, a well-made coat, a reliable tool, a durable bag. Now, this doesn't mean everything has to be expensive or that you should use it as an excuse to overspend on luxury logos. That's just consumption wearing a disguise. It means being thoughtful, choosing quality where it genuinely pays off over time, and caring for what you own so it lasts. Fewer, better, longer. That's how buying less can actually mean owning nicer things while still spending less over the long run. Let's clear up a common mix-up, because people lump these together and they're not the same. A no-buy challenge is a temporary strict sprint. For a set period, a month, a season, a year, you buy nothing beyond bare essentials, no discretionary spending at all. It's intense, it's finite, and it's a great reset for breaking bad habits or hitting a specific goal fast. Underconsumption is different. It's not a temporary challenge you white-knuckle through and then end. It's a permanent, relaxed shift in how you relate to buying, a sustainable default setting rather than a strict diet. With underconsumption, you're not banning purchases, you're just naturally buying less because you've become more intentional, and it's meant to last for good precisely because it isn't painful. Think of no-buy as a short, powerful cleanse, and underconsumption as the healthy everyday habits you keep afterward. In fact, they pair beautifully. A lot of people do a no-buy sprint to reset, break the impulse habit, and prove to themselves they can, and then settle into underconsumption as their comfortable long-term normal. One is the jumpstart, the other is the lifestyle. And it's the lifestyle that quietly builds wealth year after year. Now, a fair warning, because underconsumption has become a whole aesthetic online, and there's a subtle trap hiding inside it. Scroll the trend and you'll see beautifully shot videos of minimalist shelves, perfectly curated tiny wardrobes, matching containers, and tastefully sparse rooms. It looks gorgeous and it's genuinely inspiring. But here's the irony you have to watch for. For some people, underconsumption content quietly turns into a reason to consume. They watch a video about owning less and feel the urge to go buy the matching glass jars, the aesthetic storage bins, the capsule wardrobe starter pack, and a fresh set of minimalist everything to replace the perfectly good stuff they already own. That's not underconsumption. That's just consumption wearing a prettier, more virtuous outfit. So keep the real principle front and center. This isn't about achieving a particular look or buying the right things to appear like you buy less. It's about actually buying less and using what you already have, even if your shelves aren't photogenic and your containers don't match. Real underconsumption is often invisible because the whole point is the purchase that never happened. Don't let an aesthetic sell you the very thing the idea is meant to save you from. Substance over shelfie every time. If you want to feel the power of this fast, try a simple challenge. 1 week of buying nothing new beyond genuine essentials like fresh food and necessary bills. No clothes, no gadgets, no impulse add-ons, no just browsing that turns into just buying. For 7 days, if you want or need something, your first move is to look for it in what you already own, borrow it, or simply wait. It sounds small, but this short experiment does something powerful. It makes you suddenly aware of how many buying impulses run through a normal week on pure autopilot. You'll reach for your phone to order something, catch yourself, and realize you didn't actually need it at all. The urge just passed. You'll discover meals hiding in your own pantry, outfits hiding in your own closet, and solutions hiding in things you forgot you had. Most people finish a no-new week a little stunned at how little they truly needed to buy, and pleasantly surprised by the money still sitting in their account. It's not about white-knuckling forever. It's a quick reset that recalibrates your sense of normal, and it makes the everyday underconsumption habits feel easy afterward. Try 1 week, move whatever you save straight into savings, and see how it changes the way you look at buying. Now for the part that actually builds wealth, because buying less only makes you richer if you do one crucial thing with the money you're not spending. You have to redirect it deliberately. This is where most people accidentally leak the whole benefit. If you cut your spending but the leftover just drifts back out on other random stuff, you've gained nothing but a tidier room. The magic happens when you take the money you used to blow on impulse buys and consciously send it somewhere that grows. Your emergency fund, your debt payoff, your savings goals, your long-term investments. Picture someone who used to spend a few $100s a month on things they didn't need. Redirect that same amount month after month into savings and sensible long-term investing. And over the years, thanks to the money quietly compounding and earning on its own, it can grow into a genuinely life-changing sum. That's the real engine under this whole trend. Underconsumption on its own just saves money. Underconsumption plus intentional investing is how ordinary people slowly, quietly build real wealth. I'm not giving personalized investment advice here. Everyone's situation is different, but understand the principle. The money you don't spend is the raw fuel, and where you point it is what decides whether buying less actually makes you rich. So how do you actually begin without turning your life upside down? Start small and start this week because momentum matters more than perfection. Pick just 1 or 2 moves from this video and try them. Maybe you do a quick closet and pantry inventory and commit to shopping what you already own before buying more. Maybe you cancel a subscription or 2 you'd forgotten about. Maybe you apply the 30-day rule to the very next non-essential thing you're tempted to buy. And here's the most important step of all, the one that ties it together. The moment you free up some money by not buying, immediately move it somewhere it can grow, so the savings actually stick instead of evaporating. There's also a social side worth embracing. This is where loud budgeting comes in, simply being open and unbothered about saying, I'm not buying that right now, I'm being intentional with my money, and quiet saving. Taking pride in building your future privately instead of performing wealth for anyone else. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Just start buying a little more intentionally, redirect what you save, and let it compound. That's how a simple trend quietly turns into real, lasting wealth.